Hello, thespians. Welcome to Jack Plotnick's acting workshop. It's great to have you here today, whether you're a participant or just a peeper, a peeping Tomer, peeping Tamara, all genders. Um, um, the way that this online workshop works is that you're gonna, one at a time, do your scene opposite me as the reader, as if it was an audition for the role. And then just you and I will discuss your experience of it. You can come and go as you please. We're gonna do 4 performances, and then we're gonna take a 3-minute break, and then we'll be back to do the last 5. This online workshop has been the best part of the pandemic for me, and because it's great to get to work with actors outside of LA a little more. All the money that the actors and actresses paid to participate today was going to go to Black Lives Matter or the bail fund of your choice, because for me, I'm such a big believer in police reform, in fighting as a nation to end police brutality. And I really hope that we can make this not a moment in time, but a movement, a national movement. And so I thank you for the money you're donating today for that. And I hope that everybody out there is staying safe and wearing your mask around strangers so that you don't kill them if you're asymptomatic. Easy peasy, right? Okay, enough of the politics. If you're performing today and you're having a hard time kind of getting into the broadcast studio, don't worry, because I will make sure you get in when it's your turn to perform. And if you have, I can see you guys, so no picking your nose. I can see you even if you're not up on screen with me, and I share that with you not to scare you, but to, to let you know that if you have a question about anything I share, just wave your hand like this. And that means, hey, Jack, shut up. I have a question about what you're saying. And so, please feel free to, if I'm talking, to interrupt me and ask questions. But I want to get started now just by sharing a few things. And I thought today I would talk just for a second about how acting is fake. It's not real. The scenes we're about to do are not really happening, so you don't have to make it real, because acting is fake. It's just behaving as if it's really happening. Now, that's a huge difference, because if you understand that acting is just playing pretend, behaving as if it's really happening, then what you'll realize is, and I love this, in acting, if you say it, it's true. So if you just say the words, it's true. Isn't that interesting? I mean, often at auditions, I'll hear the person through the door, probably because I'm listening. No, but sometimes you can hear them without doing that. But it's very interesting, because what you'll inevitably hear almost every time is someone talking too loud for the room. It just sounds basically like they're not behaving as if it's really happening. They're, what I call acting with an A. They're making these strong choices, and it just doesn't sound like real life through the door. And what you realize is, oh my God, if I just went in there and just said the words, I'd be better than that poor actor in there who's desperately trying to tap dance up a storm to book this role. And once you realize that, once you realize that acting is just fake, and you just behave as if it's really happening, then what happens is that your hands aren't over here while you're acting, busy trying to earn the right to say these words, busy worrying about how do I earn the right to do this scene. And what that means is that your hands are now here in front of you, open to receive gifts of thoughts and images and concepts and feelings aligned with actually being in the circumstances, so that you can leave the audition going, wow, I didn't expect to think that and feel that and say the line like that, which is great acting. Great acting is being surprised by a thought or a feeling in front of a rolling camera. So basically, the most important thing I teach is the actor affirmations. That's the first chapter of my free book, which you can read by going to this link. The actor affirmations are the way that we quiet that ego voice, that negative, mean-spirited voice in our head that says, you don't know what you're doing and the scene isn't going well and you haven't prepared enough, right? So I tell actors to imagine it's a vulture squawking on your shoulder. And you want to talk to your vulture before you act to let it know, I don't want you talking about the shit you think I'm going to listen to, you know, because if I was sitting where you're sitting and had to perform today, my vulture would be saying a whole bunch of mean-spirited, result-oriented junk, like how I'm not prepared and I better impress Jack and all this bullshit that I don't want it saying while I'm acting, because that makes pretending nearly impossible. So we want to shut that voice up by saying the actor affirmations, which are the first chapter of the book. And so I'm going to say the affirmations I'd personally be saying to my vulture right now if I was having to act, and you can pretend you're saying this to your vulture, okay? Here we go. Vulture, I release and destroy my need to control this audition today. I'm not strong enough to control it. When I try, it just ruins it. So instead, I'm just going to ask my higher power, the magic of acting, my racing heart, they're all the same thing, to lovingly guide me through the scene. And however it goes, it was meant to go. Even if it's badly, good. The scene was meant to go badly, I'm fine with that. Vulture, I release and destroy my need to be a good actor. As a matter of fact, I release and destroy my need to be an actor at all. I'm not an actor. I'll let the other people here be the actors and have all those responsibilities. I'm not an actor. I'm just here to be me and to enjoy playing in these circumstances, right? I'm pretending this is a script, but it doesn't look anything like a script. You know, that's what I'm here to do, is just behave as if this is really happening to me. Vulture, I release and destroy my need, to know this scene better, to have prepared more, to be better memorized. This is how prepared I am. I can't be more prepared, right? So I'm going to take it from where I am. However I'm feeling, however prepared I am is a fine place to begin this scene. And when the scene begins, I'm just going to approach it like an improv, you know, like it's really happening to me for the first time. Now, if I was doing a drama scene today, oh boy, I do not want to start getting involved in the things that actors get involved in when they act, because acting in a drama is a mirror of real life. So anything the character isn't doing, you wouldn't want to do in front of the camera in a drama scene. And so I remind myself these three things because they remind me how I live my life. These are not acting tricks. These are the reminders that bring me back to how I live my real life. So number one, I'm not going to make choices, not one. In real life, I don't make choices, but more importantly, I'm going to allow choices to happen to me the same way life happens to me. And if nothing happens, that's fine, because an audience can project upon nothing. Nothing is fucking fascinating. Number two, these words, I'm just going to throw them away. I'm not going to color them. I'm not going to deliver them. They're going to tumble out of my mouth. So I have faith. I have the character's thoughts and feelings, and the words I'm just going to throw away. And number three, I hope everyone out there, especially Jack, feels so fucking uncomfortable watching me do this drama scene today. And I'm going to do that by not taking care of the scene at all, but instead of only being interested in my experience of behaving as if this is really happening to me. Now, if I was doing a comedy, my vulture would be saying a whole lot of junk about how I need to be funny and make them laugh. No, I release and destroy my need to be funny. I'm just here to tickle myself with my own genuine human behavior. If I'm tickled, they'll be tickled. And why is that? Because acting runs on empathy. The audience can only have the experience you have. So if I'm tickled, they'll be tickled. If I'm trying to make them laugh, they ain't gonna be tickled. Next, I release and destroy my need to impress these people here today, especially Jack. And you know what? I'm gonna go further and say, I give myself permission to hate these people. I don't really hate these people. I love them, but I give myself permission to hate these fuckers. Fuck them. I'm never going to see any of these assholes again. Those are the actor affirmations. Most important thing I teach, because they silence the vulture, which makes behaving as if it's really happening possible. Does anybody have any questions about the affirmations, or have something that your vulture is saying at auditions that you don't know what to say back to it? Or perhaps you've been saying the affirmations and you wish they worked better? One trick is to remember that you're not saying, when you say I release and destroy my need to book this job. You're not saying you don't want to book the job. There's a huge difference between want and need. So of course we want to book the job. Of course we want to do a great job today. Of course we want to impress Jack. But release and destroy your need to, because we don't get the things we need. Because need creates pressure and anxiety, and then we can't shine our light and we don't get anything that you need. But you get what you want sometimes. Okay, so there's no questions about that. I'm going to just talk about one more thing. And first up, I believe, is going to be Lance. But before I do that, I want to talk about the secret to auditioning, because it's that important to talk about before every workshop. And that is that you're going to approach your audition today. You're not going to approach it like you're trying to show us what the scene will look like, because all that does is make you need to get a word perfect, keep it moving, and make it look like a nice, smooth, polished surface. So you are not here today to show us what the scene will look like in the finished product, because you can't behave as if it's really happening when you're doing that. And behaving as if it's really happening is the definition of acting. So I tell actors to behave as if it's the 9th take. The 9th take on set, when the director has what he needs and now he says, this one's for you, I don't care, I'm never going to look at it. So how do I have faith that I'm doing the 9th take in an audition? Well, what I do is I talk to myself in my head as if I'm the director right before I go into the audition. And I pretend I've already done the audition and the director has what he needs. And then the director says this to me. Okay, the director says this. He says, oh my God, Jack, thank you so much for bringing in all those brilliant choices. They were perfect for the scene. And I had them all on film perfectly, and I'm going to use them in the finished movie. So since we're done, I have what I need, and we're filming it again, but I'll never even look at this take because I don't need it. Well, I guess you don't have to do any of that brilliant stuff you brought in. Gosh, I guess just behave as if it's really happening. Just want to surprise yourself. Oh, and take all the time you want, and you have permission to do it badly. I'm never going to look at this take. Action. And then I do the audition. Now, the 9th take is the secret to acting, because it is the only time we will give ourselves permission to just behave as if it's really happening and see what happens. Because you are not going to an audition to show them what the scene will look like. You're going there to discover in front of them one of the many ways the scene could look. Okay? Because camera acting has to be spontaneous. You can't pre-plan it and then hand it to them like some dead gift. Now, yes, there are 2 things you can do to prepare for an audition, and that is memorize the scene comprehension, but those are easy. And then for a sitcom audition, a comedy audition, you can take a little time to pre-plan some line readings and shtick if you like. But once you're in that room, you got to behave as if it's really happening. You can't just go, here's my dead idea of how the lines are going to sound in a sitcom, because then you're not behaving as if it's really happening. So does anybody out there, and you can wave if you have any questions, have any questions about the concept of the 9th take, what it is or why it's so important? Now, again, if to my participants, but also to anyone out there watching, everything I teach can be read in my free book. So like, if you're like, well, I think I get it, but I want to hear it again, and about the 9th take, just go to my free ebook and go to the chapter called The Secret to Acting, and then you'll be reminded of exactly what I just said. Nonetheless, we don't seem to have any questions, and so I guess we're going to get started. Welcome. Hi, Lance.
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
Very well. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm going to put on my glasses. Now, you're doing what scene?
It's the agent scene.
Okay, so Neil, I apologize. Neil, you're also doing this scene later. So you don't have, maybe you don't want to watch this first.
You don't want to watch the scene.
I'm going to leave it up to you, Neil, but this will be about 10 minutes, but you can just keep checking back if you don't, and I recommend you probably don't watch it. Sorry. Now, I try to keep all this stuff straight, but sometimes it's all just too much for me. And so this was a mistake, and I apologize to Neil for him missing on a performance. So anyway, let me get the scene out. Hold on a second. Where is that scene? Thank God for that searching feature in my Mac. It makes everything so easy. Now, for the people out there that don't know about this scene, this is a filmed half-hour comedy scene. And I'm going to play an actor who is visiting his agent, and we're in the agent's office. Now, because you have the first word, I'm going to let you begin, okay?
Okay.
When you're ready.
All right. Incredible work. Incredible stuff. Congrats. Could be an award for you.
Oh, thanks, Jim.
Just brilliant work. God damn, Ryan.
Okay, calm down.
Okay, I'm sorry. Just so fucking worked up. Yeah.
Anything else, Jim?
Yeah. Yeah. One thing. Can you see this watch? Can you see this watch? It's fucking sweet, right?
Yeah, it's not really my style.
What if I told you I can get you $2 million for 1 day's work?
No, I told you before, I'm not doing that advertising bullshit.
Come on. Even Tom Cruise does this sort of thing.
What just smells like a
It's not being a
sellout?
show in Japan.
I don't want to be a sellout.
Are you kidding? It's easy money.
I don't know. I don't even wear that brand of watch. It's awful.
Jason, hold my calls, would you? I'll tell you what. There's a service we use. They come into your house. They tranquilize you. They transport you to the film set while you're asleep. And while you're asleep, they put you in the pose. They shoot you with the product. Then they take you back to your house. And then in your bed. And the next day you wake up $2 million richer.
Okay, good. I'm going to stop you there. Thank you so much. Good work. At this point, I like to ask the actor what their experience doing the scene was. And the reason why is that, as I mentioned earlier, acting runs on empathy, meaning the audience will only have the experience you have. So that's why what matters is the actor's experience, not the audience and their determination of the result. Because if you have an experience where your vulture's squawking a bunch of bullshit to you, which makes behaving as if this is really happening very difficult, then that would be a bad experience for you. So it's a bad experience for the audience. Whereas if you have an experience where your vulture's silent, so it's easy to just behave as if this is really happening to you, then that's a good experience for you. So it's a good experience for the audience. That's why I tell actors, you've got to be totally selfish, only interested in your own experience, because any part of you that's worried about what they think of you out there is a part of you not back here in your own selfish shit, having a rich, surprising emotional experience, thereby giving the audience a rich, surprising emotional experience. So when I ask you what your experience of doing the scene was, what I'm really wondering is, was there anything that came up that you didn't care for? Was there anything your vulture was squawking about?
I wasn't crazy about the handling of the phone in the beginning and later aspect. And then doing the stage direction to get up and move and close the door, come back. I did feel an extra energy come up in me there, a little anger. And then I tried to use that when I came back. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about, but it's interesting to hear that. And I do believe that your vulture probably squawked when you were holding the phone, because you're telling me you felt like you didn't like it. And Every feeling is caused by a thought. And so I recommend to actors that you describe negative feelings not as a feeling, but as what your vulture was saying to cause that feeling. But I don't really want to talk about the miming of the phone or the standing up, because I'm interested in anything else your vulture said to you while you were acting.
Well, it said to me while I was acting. I don't know. I was definitely nervous in the beginning.
Okay, so I don't allow the word nervous.
Okay.
But I understand what you're saying. What you're saying is my
I was
heart
excited.
was racing and I felt anxiety. So if you want to say I felt anxious in the beginning, because you guys, your heart will always be racing when you act, so there's no need to talk about it. And it's your heart racing that makes you give a great performance. So the heart racing is our batteries. It plugs us into our higher power, the magic of acting, and guides us through our audition. It makes us smarter and more than we are because it sends more blood to your brain. You become superhuman. But anyway, but if you're saying you were feeling anxious at the start of the scene, that means your vulture was saying something, to which I would say, what was your vulture saying at the start of the scene?
Oh, what was he saying? What was he saying? I wish I knew.
Well, when people
I don't know how to connect.
When people first start working with me and they're not in the habit of listening for their vulture, it's hard to hear it clearly. But I promise you, if you're feeling anxiety, your vulture is saying something. So maybe you, instead of talking about the vulture squawking, is there anything else you didn't care for about that scene?
It went a lot quicker than I thought it was going to go. I know you're not supposed to, learn it. And
I don't talk about the result of the scene, but
okay.
That's not.
I feel I'm not talking about the right way then. So
no, it's not about right or wrong. I'm just sharing with you that talking about the result of the scene, in my opinion, won't necessarily help you next time to more behave as if it's really happening, to discuss something like pace or speed. But maybe you felt a responsibility to keep it moving, which would mean your vulture was saying, speed it up, come on, man, why are you going so slow? Or maybe your vulture was saying, you're going too fast.
I think it said I was going too fast.
Oh, okay, well, you want to tell your vulture, I release and destroy my need not to go fast. Because in real life, sometimes we just say a whole bunch of things and they all pour out of our mouth. As a matter of fact, what I always say about acting is you should just throw away the words, but hope something bigger than you stops you. And forgetting a line is a great reason to get stopped. Because when an actor forgets a line, it looks like they're thinking, and you have to have those moments. So anyway, I really liked that audition. It's my first time to see you act. What I'd say is I could tell you were feeling anxiety because actors and empathy, we feel everything you're feeling. And what I'd recommend is to all day long, whenever you feel bad, to get your vulture to repeat what it said and more clearly. And that's how you practice hearing what your vulture says clearly, so that while you're acting, when your vulture squawks, you'll be able to hear what it's saying, because it is saying something very specific to you along the lines of get the scene right, or show them what it looks like, or don't fail. But until you find out the exact way your vulture puts it, you won't be able to know what the exact way to get it to shut up about that. And usually it's in the form of, well, I release and destroy my need to not fail. I release and destroy my need to get the scene right, so that your vulture will stop saying it. Or I release and destroy my need to be perfect. So we're going to do this scene again, but first I want to share with you a couple things about the movement.
Okay.
First off, I wouldn't recommend you talk on the phone at the beginning of the scene because it's not in the script. However, it didn't bother me, but it's not. The writer didn't write it, and when you add something that isn't in the circumstances, you do run the risk of the writer being like, "What's that? I didn't want that." But I always tell actors that the universe always pays off to a joyful risk. So, if it's coming from love and a desire to tickle yourself, then it's good. But you had anxiety about it, and so you weren't really able to enjoy doing it. Then what I recommend is when you're doing any kind of home self-tape, you want to always stay on screen, because the time you were off screen was lost time. But I do love that you took the joyful risk of doing it. And what did I tell you? The universe pays off to a joyful risk. When you enacted that moment, you got surprised by this feeling of frustration and anger, and that's great. But I just don't recommend leaving screen like that, because you could have done that just by simply going like this and right back in, and I would have gotten to see more of you.
Okay.
So anyway, what in terms of scene comprehension,
Uh-huh.
I look at a scene as a series of improvs, and the opening improv is just an improv about what's literally obviously happening to you, if this was really happening to you, Lance. So what's
Uh-huh.
happening to you is I'm an agent and I'm over the moon about this guy's
Right.
performance.
Uh-huh.
And I'm doing it, I'm sharing with him my elation about his performance because I really want him to to start advertising. But
Right.
the literal obvious circumstances are that you're elated about this performance and you're tickling yourself with your own genuine, spontaneous behavior when you're tickled as fuck about somebody's performance, right? And
Uh-huh.
so I just was missing that. I felt like your anxiety, whatever it was, about the
Look over
scene,
that.
you from enjoying doing an improv about being an agent in a great looking suit who thinks his client fucking rocked it. And that's all it is. There's no right way to do it. As a matter of fact, it's supposed to look different every time you do it.
Mm-hmm. What
But if
about
when you go through squawking, it makes tickling yourself difficult. And you've got to be tickling yourself in order to make it a comedy. Okay, now you have any questions?
what about substitution? If I were to,
I believe substitution is a great thing if it surprises you in the performance. I don't recommend substitution as something you pre-plan because although you can, you know what, if there's something you do in your process and you enjoy doing it and it works, feel free to keep doing it, but just know I probably don't, because I'd rather be surprised by something not in my life. That's for me much more fun because I'm here to play pretend, not to substitute. And the thing about substitution is it may not quite line up with the given circumstances. So anyway, nonetheless, I believe substitution is fine. I prefer it to surprise me. So we're going to do an exercise that I love because it gets rid of the moment when the scene begins and you're under pressure to act. And that is that I'm going to talk to you about your life. And this is just an exercise for you to remember how you really think and communicate. In the middle of us talking, I'm going to say, start the scene. And what I want you to do is to, without looking at the script, jump right into your first line. Incredible stuff. Congrats. Could be an award for you. Jump right into that line, but bring right with you into the scene how you really think and communicate so that we can't even tell the scene began.
all right.
You follow?
Sure.
Okay, so here we go. When you were young, what were the schools that you went to? And again, this is just for you to remember how you really think and communicate so you can bring it right into the scene.
I went to West Walnut High School, elementary.
Yeah, and middle school?
I went to, is that making me better? I went
It was all
to,
good. It's great. You look great. Go on.
okay, I went to junior high school, like Michael Berger Middle School.
And
then
when you were younger, was there a class that you just killed at? You were like, I got this.
I was really good at math.
Oh, yeah?
And, yeah.
And what did that mean? Did you tell me the levels you went through that
I started to be,
algebra too.
I wanted to become an engineer for 2 years before I became an actor because I thought I was supposed to do that. And then I quit that. I hated that. It was like a lot of
Oh, well, how did it make you feel to have to do it, the thing you hated?
It was like problem solving every day, and I just got tired of it. Everything's a problem.
When you were younger, was there a band or a movie you were fucking obsessed with?
A band or a movie I was obsessed with?
Something you posters of at any age?
I liked TV a lot. I used to like a lot of TV shows. Like Flip Wilson was probably my favorite, and Carol Burnett and
well, you can, yeah. How did and when you were younger, do you recall that feeling of the last day of school? Like, did you guys trash the school the way we did?
I did not. I was a goody two-shoe. I didn't trash the school.
Do you recall a party that you went to in high school or college that was really awesome?
Yeah, there was a party. It was kind of awesome because my sister got in trouble for going to.
Just start it.
Incredible stuff. Congrats. Could be an award for you.
Oh, well, thank you, Jim.
Just brilliant work. God damn, Ryan.
Okay, well, calm down.
Okay, I'm sorry. Just so fucking excited about it. I mean, yeah.
Well, anything else, Jim? Before I go?
Yeah, one thing. You see this watch?
I see it. Don't. Yeah.
It's fucking sweet, right?
No. So it's not my style. I don't wear anything like that.
Come on. What if I told you I could get you $2 million for one day's work?
No, Jim. I told you I'm not going to do that advertising.
Come
bullshit.
on. I mean, even Tom Cruise does this sort of thing. You know, you only shoot in Japan.
It's just, it's to me that's like being a sellout.
You gotta be kidding me. It's in great money.
No, look, I don't even wear that brand of watch. It's awful.
Hey,
okay,
Jason,
good.
hold my call.
I'm stop you. Good. I'm going to stop you. Good. So, was that easier than the first time or harder?
Oh yeah, it was much easier.
And was it more fun or less fun than the first time?
I thought I was more laid back.
Well, I don't talk about the result of the scene because the scene is supposed to be different on you every time you do it. But what I love is that you said it was easier than the first time. And this is what I love about my workshop, which is whenever actors have a beautiful adjustment, and that was so good. And so, I mean, that time you were behaving as if it was really happening, which makes you castable. And it was wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, actors, whenever they have a great adjustment like you just did, they always say it was easier. And that's because acting, I guess, is easier than you thought. And if it's better and it's easier, that means it's not better because we worked on the scene or you picked up some new acting technique. If it's better and easier, that means it's better because you stopped being involved in things you don't need to be involved in, things that make your acting harder and not as good, which was anything your vulture was squawking about. Because I think you'll agree that this time you had no vulture squawking, meaning you had no pressure and anxiety to get it right, did you?
Yeah,
well, that's what I love about that exercise. When we're talking about our childhood, we don't have our vulture can't go, you're doing it wrong. Don't forget these words. Jack doesn't like you, you know? And then when you jump into the scene, often your vulture forgets you're acting and it doesn't squawk. And then the scene's fucking easy to do and great. And so what I want to share with you now is the affirmations do that. That's what the affirmations do. They shut your vulture up. They do it better than the exercise we just did. Because the affirmations deal specifically with what your vulture is saying in each moment. And my guess is that the anxiety you're feeling comes from the concept of lines, remembering your lines, and comparing that. And by the way, I'm not psychic. This is just my psychic guess. That you have anxiety about remembering the lines and about comparing the way you thought you should do them to the way they're coming out. Now, I could be wrong about that, but does that sound like it might be true?
Not the remembering part. I don't have a problem with that, but the comparing part definitely.
Yeah, that's why I recommend that when you memorize people, everybody has a vulture that goes, oh, say it like this. And you've got to tell your vulture, no, I don't want to know how I'm going to say it. I'm not acting, I'm memorizing right now. So vulture, while I memorize, I'm just going to focus on what the words mean because I want to be surprised by how the words come out in the performance. I don't want to spend my performance comparing the way they're coming out to the way I rehearsed them. I only pre-plan line. By the way, Neil, you can come back now. Neil. Anyway, I only pre-plan line readings personally. I only pre-plan them for a sitcom, and I don't plan them until the 15 minutes before I'm going to perform because that's when my heart's racing and that's when my brain has expanded and the ideas are better than what I could come up with the night before when my heart isn't racing, which are all going to be terrible ideas. You had one more question, and then we'll have.
Yeah, what about emotional level or deepness of emotion for the
I would
scene?
never use the word deepness. It is used as a weapon by teachers to keep you in their class. What I say about emotion is this. Acting runs on emotion. The audience can only feel what you feel. So you got to want to feel, actors. You got to want to feel. But remember, the character doesn't. Nobody wants to start, crying with laughter in front of their client. Nobody wants to start screaming at their spouse. So push it down because this is how we really behave. But good news, when you push down a seed of an emotion like anger or frustration, it grows stronger. You feel it more, and then the audience feels it more. Did that help?
I think so, a little bit. I guess I was trying to connect to some emotion I didn't feel, so that the nervousness was in the
Well,
first
again, as
scene.
you'll all notice, yes, I understand. Your vulture was saying, hey, you have to connect to a feeling. But when your
Right.
hands are over here, worried about fulfilling the emotion of the scene, they're not here in front of you, open and ready to receive gifts of images, thoughts, and concepts that you could react to with excitement.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
don't release and destroy your need to connect to an emotion, and instead tell yourself, I want to feel in this scene. And I invite the universe to send me gifts of images and thoughts that I could react to emotionally.
Okay.
Good work.
Thank
That was
you.
very
Appreciate
good.
it. Thank you.
Yes. Up next, we have who's G Smola? Oh, hi there. Hi
Hi,
there.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Nice to see you.
I'm good.
Now you're going to be doing Vanessa, correct?
Mm-hmm.
For those of you out there who aren't familiar with Vanessa, this is a drama. Now, Vanessa's husband has been lying to her about his entire life. And she, while he was out, has found a box in his closet. And now this takes place in the bedroom. And me, her husband, walks in and it says he freezes to find Vanessa sitting on the edge of the bed, a shoebox in her lap, staring at disbelief at a photo in her hand. So I had the first line, so I'm going to let you tell me when you're ready, and then we'll begin.
I'm ready.
Okay. Babe, are you...
All day, I kept thinking of more and more stories you told me, things that never could have happened. Then I thought about that old box you keep up on that top shelf way in the back. I know I shouldn't have looked, but I did.
It wasn't really a marriage by the time we sobered up and realized...
So it was just a few hours.
Well, a few months.
Do you have any other kids?
Of course not.
Don't. You can't say, of course not, to me. You can't. You don't get to say, of course not. It's like I am supposed to, figure out when you tell the kind of lie you would, or the kind of lie you wouldn't. Just, of course not, means nothing coming from you. Your name is not even Edison. It's Jenkins.
Not exactly. That birth certificate is fake too.
The hell is your real name?
Good. Let's stop there.
Mm-hmm.
So, good work. What was your experience of that? Anything come up you don't care for? Anything your vulture was saying?
Only when I kind of forgot a line, but I tried to paraphrase it, so it wasn't a big deal. I wasn't like too worried about it or anything. It's just
What
I
did
just
your
knew I
vulture
wasn't the right line.
What did your vulture say to you in that moment that you forgot the line?
Just kind of like, it's not the right line. But then I was like, whatever, I can just say what it means.
I'm so glad that you shared with everyone that you talk to your vulture while you're acting, because until you get control of your vulture, it will squawk while you're acting. And part of the process of getting control of your vulture is to, when it squawks even while you're acting, is to understand that they can't read your thoughts, and it only takes a second to say an affirmation so that your vulture shuts up and the pressure rolls off, and you can once again behave as if it's really happening to you.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to share? Anything else your vulture is saying? Anything you didn't care for? Okay, was there anything that felt better than usual based on what you've been working on?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for saying that acting is fake in the beginning, because that means a lot actually. Because I always feel this pressure of like, oh, you have to get to this point of
Well,
you.
try not to see it as a pressure, but instead say, I want to cry in this scene. I want to feel great depths of sadness. And I
Mhm,
have faith that my entire world has been rocked. I take ownership of the scene. I'm not dipping my toe in it. I'm not going to do a scene about it. I'm going to take ownership and say, this is really fucking happening.
mhm,
Which is that the man I love, that I put myself into his hands, is not who I thought he was, and he's lied to me the whole time. So want to feel, but tell yourself, I release and destroy my need
mhm,
to feel, and I don't have to show anything. I'm going to
mhm,
push it down. So
mhm.
anyway, I'm glad though that took some pressure off you to realize that you don't have to achieve some result, that you don't have to show us what it will look like in the finished product.
Right.
Anything else feel better?
Mm,
Okay, well, what I would say is, often it's what you don't do that books the job. And I was so proud of you. Your goal in this workshop is to come in and do your second read the first time. And I really thought you did. You did not get involved in so many of the things that actresses get involved in a scene like this that would make the casting person just go, nope. So it's what you don't do that books the job sometimes. And you weren't making a bunch of choices. You weren't trying to take care of the scene. So I felt uncomfortable watching it. You were able to behave as if it's really happening. Is it okay to wish you had a more powerful experience? Hell yeah. Because I can only feel what you feel. What I want you to understand is that the work you've done with me has now cleared the runway, but you didn't really want to take off and fly
mhm,
or trust that you could. And what I want to tell you now is, honey, you are fucking ready to have a powerful experience, because your hands aren't over here worried about doing a whole bunch of things that
uh-huh,
have nothing to do with you having a rich, selfish experience.
mhm,
So the opening improv did not feel like an improv about the circumstances. You could have told me it was just an improv about chatting with me about something else that has none of the emotional impact of this, which is huge. So I
mhm,
would recommend that you have faith, you have her thoughts and feelings, and they're big ones, and the
mhm,
words go away, and to trust that by having faith, you have her thoughts and feelings. You do invite the universe to send you gifts of thoughts and images and concepts that you could react to.
mhm,
Want to feel, but remember the character doesn't. We're going to do this scene again. And we can convince ourselves, oh, I'm going to do a scene. I'm supposed to want to go in there and knock it out of the ballpark. No. No. If I had to do this scene, I would not want to do this scene. And guess what? The character doesn't want to do this scene. You see? So you don't have to get anywhere. Instead, you can use everything you're feeling right now, because it is all completely appropriate to this scene. You feel vulnerable. You feel tense. You don't want to say these words. You don't want to have to do the scene. Neither does the character. That's why you can take it from where you are. Say, I'm not an actress. I'm just here to be me and to see what happens. When I do an improv about being forced to have this moment with my husband, the man who I thought loved me unconditionally, and instead I think everything is a lie. How would that make you feel?
mhm,
Put it in your belly. Throw these circumstances away. You don't have to show me these circumstances. Instead, they are a delicious improv that you get to be involved in. You don't have to make any choices, not one, which means all responsibility making choices off your shoulders. Instead, you're just going to see what happens to you and want things to happen to you in this scene. It's an improv about having to live the worst moment of your entire fucking life. You don't have to keep the scene moving, because she doesn't want to say these words. They'll come out of you when they're meant to.
mhm,
You should hope we feel so fucking uncomfortable watching this, and you'll do that by not taking care of the scene at all, but instead and only being interested in your experience of behaving as if it's really happening.
mhm.
And the director said, thank you for doing this scene so brilliantly. We're done. I have what I need. So I guess this time you don't have to do any of that great stuff you did. I guess just behave as if it's really happening. Just want to surprise yourself. Take all the time you want, and you have permission to do it badly. I'm going to let you begin the scene whenever you're ready with your line. You don't have to want to do this. Want to feel, but remember the character doesn't. Push down the pain and sadness But by pushing it down, it does grow stronger. You have no idea what you're going to say. And now I'm going to shut up.
All day I kept thinking of more and more stories you told me. The things that never could have happened. And then I thought about that old box you keep up on the top shelf way in the back. And
I want to begin again. I love what you're doing. I want to remind you that you've been sitting on this bed in shock for maybe an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's an improv that you're skipping, which is, he's in the room with me now. How does it feel to have him look at you? Are you able to look at him? Did he ever love you? Probably not. Does he have children? Does he have faith? You have, her thoughts and feelings are big ones, and the words you throw away. Here we go. Whenever you're ready, have faith, I enter.
All day I kept thinking of more and more of the stories you told me and things that never could have happened. And then I thought about the old box you keep up on that shelf way in the back. And I know I shouldn't have loved, but I did.
It wasn't really a marriage. By the time we sobered up and we realized.
So it was just a few hours.
A few months.
Do you have any other kids?
Of course not.
You don't get to say, of course not. Don't get to say, of course not. It's like I should be able to differentiate between the kind of lies you would tell and the kind of lies you wouldn't. Of course not doesn't mean anything coming from you. Your name isn't even Jenkins.
The birth certificate.
I don't
Good. Yeah, you don't go back and correct.
Oh.
It's a way of breaking character, in my opinion, people. It's very rare that I would ever go backwards and correct, because in real life, we don't. And do you think they care what name you call him?
Probably not.
No. But anyway, what I want to share with you is, that blew my mind. That was beautiful. And I'll bet you agree, wow, yeah, that time I felt like I was really behaving as if it's really happening.
Yeah.
You had a more interesting experience, didn't you? You got surprised by some thoughts and images, didn't you?
Yeah.
Guys, when you're in that waiting room and you see those other actresses with this script and they're making notes on it and they're practicing how it's going to go and they're jotting down pre-planned thoughts, you have to say, there, but for the grace of God, go I there in a last-ditch effort to control this scene, and I know that I mustn't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do my scene comprehension. I'm going to understand what the improv is, and I'm going to go in there and do an improv about that in front of them, and it's going to make me feel so fucking uncomfortable, which is going to make them feel so fucking uncomfortable. But I would just say, while I loved that first paragraph, Jesus Christ, the second paragraph has exclamation points.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And because the reason why you weren't able to really receive a gift there was that you forgot that every scene we do, you don't know what I'm going to say and you don't know what you're going to say.
Mm-hmm.
And without remembering that, you can't be surprised by me saying, of course not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when you say, it says pained, when you say, you ask, it's an improv about asking a question, and you say, do you have any other kids? It's because You want to know that answer, right? And he says, of course not. You have to have faith. Didn't expect him to say that, and to have faith that it creates a feeling of passion in you because of the exclamation point. You got to want to feel, honey. And you can't wait for the auditioner to give you permission to have a powerful experience, because they never will. It's your job to go in there and want to have a powerful experience. It wasn't bad, that paragraph. It's just, I didn't feel that you didn't expect me to say, of course not, and that you were either disgusted or furious or out, by hearing, of course not.
I was a little caught up with the words there because
I can tell you have line anxiety about this paragraph, and honey, your line anxiety will never help you remember the words better. And you've got to forgive yourself unconditionally for not knowing the words better. This is how much you were meant to know them. And again, it's okay if you stutter and stumble. It's okay if you have to look at the script, but don't let your line anxiety make you put behaving as if it's really happening in second place. Anyway, I'm so proud of you. Gorgeous audition. Great work.
Thank you.
Yes. We are now on, who is this? Whose name is this? Silvia? Is it you? Wave your hand if this is you, which is G-A-O. Oh, it's Silvia. Okay. I should write people's names down and not just their emails. Hi there.
Hi.
So you're going to be, this is the first time we've worked together, right?
Yes.
Or second?
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
first time. And if I'm correct, you're doing the role of Sarah, right?
Yes.
Yes. Now, for those of you out there who don't know this scene, Sarah is a doctor at a hospital. She doesn't like how another doctor there, who is actually her ex-boyfriend, she doesn't like how he's handling a patient, so she's decided she's going to intervene. It says that we are at the nurse's station, and that she puts her hand out for the file. That's what happens at the start of the scene. So because you begin the scene, I'll just let you begin it when you're ready, okay?
Okay. Why don't you hand that file over to me?
What?
I'll take it off your hands for you since you can't seem to handle it.
Who says I can't handle it?
That's certainly what it sounded like.
Okay, so you're spying on me now, huh?
It's kind of hard to ignore that obnoxious voice of yours.
Well, someone called sexy.
What?
Sorry, I thought you and me were just going to be, two colleagues that happen to work together in the same hospital.
Look, this isn't about you and your irresistible charm, okay? This is about that patient, and she has a serious medical problem, and she deserves to be taken seriously.
That woman's a whack job. She's pretending to be pregnant.
It's called false pregnancy. It's a legitimate psychological disorder. She's not pretending to be anything. She honestly believes she's about to give birth.
Okay, good. I'm going to stop you there and ask you what your experience of doing that was. Anything come up you don't care for? Anything your vulture was squawking about?
Yeah, I messed up one of the lines.
So what did your vulture say about the fact that you messed up one of the lines?
It wanted to fix it.
Okay, I recommend you read the last chapter of my book. It's the last chapter for a reason, because it's the 5 concepts as actors that we need to know in order to create a reality where there's no such thing as failure. Because right now, if your vulture is going, you need to go back and fix that, what it means is it's trying to convince you that there's a thing called failure. And there, for me, in my reality, there is no such thing as failure in my acting. Okay? But anyway, I release and destroy my need to be perfect. I release and destroy my need to get it word perfectly. I'm allowed to paraphrase. I want to say it word perfectly. I just don't need to.
Okay.
Okay, anything else your vulture was saying?
No, that's about it. Just the wording.
Anything else you want to share about your experience that you didn't care for?
Not really. I thought it was fun because I got your reactions were good.
Did anything feel better than usual? Just based on something new you're trying today in my workshop, I'm just curious.
Just letting go and not trying to control the scene, and just I'm like listening to you and watching you and basing the way I will do the line based on your.
So I think what you're saying is today I allowed myself to let the scene come out in a surprising way more than I normally do. Is that true?
Yeah, based on how you
I know.
Yeah.
But And because you may have allowed this, let go of some of your control and allowed the scene to surprise you, was it more fun than it normally is?
Yeah.
Well, God forbid acting should be fun. As artists, we do our art because we enjoy doing it. Yes, it's very uncomfortable acting. It's super uncomfortable, but it's exciting and it's fun.
Yes.
And we should, in my opinion, approach our art in a way that's exciting and fun.
Yeah.
Because every other artist there is gets to do that, other
Mhm.
than ballet dancers and violinists. But anyway, okay, so what do I want to share with you? I thought that was a nice audition, but what I liked about it was you behaved as if it was really happening, which makes you
Mhm.
castable. It's got to be the most important thing we put on our list, is to behave as if it's really happening, because that is what makes us castable. But you were making choices and muscling moments and coloring words, which you can do in a filmed half-hour comedy or sitcom, especially. You can do that, but you can't do that in a drama. Because a drama, you can't make any choices. If they see you making choices, that casting person won't bring you back in for a drama. So it wasn't a bad audition. It's just that you turned this drama audition, in my opinion, into kind of like a filmed half-hour comedy by muscling the scene and coloring your words.
Okay. I feel like I tend to do that, but I don't know how to.
Like what? Say it again.
I feel like I tend to do that sometimes.
Yeah. Well, guess what? Not doing it is easier. Because in real life, you go the whole 99.9% of your life, you're not making choices, you're not coloring words, and things are just coming out of you, right?
Yeah.
So not doing that in your scene work is actually easier than what you're doing. And I'm going to prove that to you, because we're going to do the exercise that gets rid of the moment when you're under pressure to act.
Okay.
Right? So I'm just going to talk. I love this exercise. I'm going to talk to you about your life so you can remember how you really think and communicate. And then in the middle of us talking, I'm going to say, start the scene. And what I want you to do is, without looking at the script, to just jump into the scene with your first line and bring right with you into the scene how you really think and communicate, so that we can't tell the scene began. Now, in order to do this exercise, you've got to let go of any way you ever thought to do the scene. And just go, well, they've already seen that, so this time I'll just see what happens.
Okay.
Okay, so what did you have for breakfast today? And this, again, is just to remember how you really think and communicate, so that when I say do the scene, you can bring that right into the scene. What did you have for breakfast?
I had dumplings.
Where do you buy your dumplings?
My mom made them.
Oh, I love that. What kind did she make?
She made like chives and pork.
When you were younger, did you have a hobby that meant a lot to you?
Yes, painting.
How did you feel when you were painting?
Just free and satisfying.
Do you recall a painting that meant a lot to you that you got to make?
No, in particular.
Why do you think that art is important, that kids get to do art?
Because I think it's a really good way to express yourself, and you're just in your own world while you're making art.
Yeah, do you recall an art teacher that actually meant a lot to you or that you liked?
Not really.
No? What class did you get to do art in?
I was an art major, so I did a lot of art in high school.
Do you recall the name of the teacher?
Not really. I feel like.
Did you ever have a teacher that you didn't like, who you thought was mean?
I had a lot, yeah. I think I just didn't like school in general.
How did you feel when you were in that mean teacher's class?
I felt like being a class clown.
Start the scene.
Why don't you hand that case over to me?
So I don't want to know the scene begins. So I didn't think that was bad in any way, but I want you to trick me so I can't tell the scene begins, and by just bringing right into the scene how you really think and communicate. And you said that art meant a lot to you. And did you hang any of the art in your bedroom or in your home?
Yeah.
Where?
There's some right there. And there's some like on top of me.
Yeah. And did you know that the government is cutting funding to public schools so that a lot of kids don't get art class the way we did when we were young? Did you know that?
I know. Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
I think it's terrible.
Start the scene.
Why don't you hand that case over to me?
What?
I'll take it off your hands for you since you can't seem to handle it.
Who says I can't handle it?
That's certainly what it sounded like.
Oh, okay. So you're spying on me now.
It's kind of hard to ignore that obnoxious voice of yours.
Some would call it sexy.
Somewhat.
So I thought you and I were just going to be, as you said, two colleagues that happen to work together.
Look, this isn't about you and your inflated sense of irresistible charm. That woman has a serious medical condition and she deserves to be taken seriously.
That woman is a whack job. She's pretending to be pregnant.
It's called false pregnancy. She's not pretending to be anything. She honestly believes she's about to give birth.
Yeah, I think I should be touring with Pearl Jam, but I don't bring my hallucination into a hospital and waste people's time.
What is it you're so scared of?
Okay, good. So was that easier or harder than the first time?
I think it was easier because I don't think I really made choices doing.
And was it, you sure didn't. And was it more fun or less fun than the first time?
I think I just felt calmer.
No, you felt less anxiety. I promise you, you're never going to feel calm when you're acting. You've got all these eyes on you. You didn't feel calmer, but would you agree, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but wouldn't you agree that what you really meant is you felt less anxiety?
Yeah.
People out there, some people are going, he's putting words in her mouth. I'm really not. If you felt less anxiety, anxiety is a feeling caused by a vulture squawk. Every feeling is caused by a thought. So a negative feeling like anxiety is caused. So what you just told us is, I had less vulture squawking. And because you're new to me, you're not yet hearing your vulture really clearly. And so you do want to practice all day whenever you feel bad, getting your vulture to say it louder and more clearer so that you can start to really hear what she's saying, to move that negative voice outside your head so that you can stop seeing it as the truth, but instead as your ego. But anyway, you had less vulture squawking, which allowed you to go further down the road of behaving as if it's really happening.
Yeah. Like this time, I didn't hear it saying, oh, you messed up or anything like that.
Yep. That's what I love about that exercise. All that exercise does, because you don't need to remind yourself how you think and communicate before an audition, because as I've said, you've been thinking and communicating all day long. Instead, what you need to do is get rid of the new thing that arrives when you act, which is that all of a sudden you've got a vulture squawking at you about how you've got to get it right.
Yeah.
You know? So the affirmations are how to silence your vulture, not the exercise. Although I love doing it, the way I never do that exercise, I talk to my vulture with the affirmations to get him to shut up so I can do what you just did so easily. Because as you said, that was easy.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want you to know is this. I love what you're doing, but please read my chapter or watch my video about making choices, how you don't want to make choices in a drama, because you're still thinking it's your job as an actress. And this is based on some teacher you went to, has instilled in you the belief that it's your job to take care of the scene. So therefore to show what it will look like, which will cause you to start making choices and coloring words and delivering lines.
Got it.
But you went so far down that road. You did a great job of bringing how you really think and communicate right into the scene. And that's why it got so damn good. Now, it wasn't bad the first time. It just wasn't a drama audition.
Yeah.
You can't muscle, you can't make choices, you can't color words or deliver them, and you can't take care of the audience by making them comfortable in a drama. All three of those things ruin a drama audition.
Okay.
You can read the chapters about those in my book.
Okay.
Lovely work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, also, please, I have a feeling that underneath a lot of what your vulture's saying is the concept that you need to be perfect.
Or like to get it right.
Get it right is another way of saying you need to be perfect. Now, if you feel a tremendous pressure to get it right or be perfect, it may be that you're projecting your childhood on me, your parents or your family. Because I don't
think
need
it's myself.
Okay, be nicer to yourself.
Yeah.
Tell yourself, no, no, no. Not only do I release and destroy my need to get it right or be perfect, I embrace imperfection. I embrace mistakes. Life is full of mistakes and imperfections. And if I get rid of them, I'm making my scene not look like real life. So I hope I forget the lines. I hope I trip on my words. I hope I make mistakes because life is full of them. Good work. Okay, now we're going to do one more, and then we're going to take a very quick 3-minute break, and we're up to Janet. Hi, Janet.
Hey,
We're doing another, hi there, we're going to do, am I correct, the second Yanni scene today, right? Or the first one again? What are we doing?
Second Yanni.
The second. Yeah,
Yes.
I love it. I've never gotten to see somebody do both Yanni scenes, so this will be fun because you did the first one last week, I believe.
Yes, I did.
Now, to the people out there who don't know, this is a filmed half-hour comedy scene, and Yanni is the boss at this, like a retirement community. Not the best boss. You wouldn't want Yanni as your boss. And I'm one of the people that work there. It says that we're in the hallway and that my character, Kate, and Yanni stand, says hiddenish, in the hallway observing Mark. And that's, now I have the first line, so this is a filmed half-hour comedy. I have the first line. You let me know when you're ready to begin and I'll say my first line.
Okay. Okay.
He hasn't been hearing that well recently.
Right, I've noticed.
But I asked how his kids were, and he thought I said something different.
What did he think you said?
Well, he thought I asked if his pits hurt. And then he lifted up his shirt and showed me his underarms, which were all torn up, like from scratching. All the hair was ripped out.
All of it?
Well, there were some strands left, I guess, but most of it, poor guy.
How much water have you been giving them?
Normal, I guess they're like maybe a pitcher a day.
Well, do a much better job, okay?
Of how much water he drank?
Yes. Keep track of that and everything. Hey, do you want to grab dinner some night this week after work? Go to Chi-Chi's or something at the mall?
Me and you?
Yeah, dummy. Unless you want to invite Michelle, but A, nah. And B, well, it seems like you two have tension.
Me and Michelle have tension?
Well, you tell me, I don't know. How about
Good,
Thursday?
I'm going to stop you there. Good, I'm going to stop you there. Good. So what's your experience of that? Anything come up you don't care for or anything you're vulture talking about?
I was just pushing it. I had that. I had that thing again. Get it right. I did
What
this.
thing?
I had the
Oh,
vulture thing. Get it right.
Let's talk about what your vulture was saying one at a time, because it's what it's. By the way, people, your vulture is not saying the truth. Your
Right.
vulture is saying what it knows you'll currently still listen to. That's why we go through what it's saying to figure out what to say back to it, so that you can say that right before you act next time, so that your vulture can't continue saying this thing it's saying. Now, mind you, though, your vulture will move on to a new argument why you're terrible or why you need to get right. But eventually, you can argue your vulture down all her arguments and she'll stay silent for the entire 4-minute audition. And that's when you really book work. So what was your vulture saying?
You got to get it right. You got to be perfect. You better think about everything. You got to think about everything.
Okay, stop. Let's talk. Hold on. Don't forget them. But I release into storm. I need to get it right because there's no right way to do a scene. It's supposed to be different every time I do it. There are correct circumstances, which are always obvious, but there's no right way to do a scene. Also, it's the ninth take. That's why the ninth take is a secret to acting, because if it's the ninth take and the director says, oh my God, I don't care what you do, you can do it badly because I already have what I need, then what could your vulture possibly say? Nothing, because you have permission to do it badly. That's why the ninth take is so important. So it said, I release in the storm, I need to be perfect. Now it said something about the concept that you have to be thinking about everything. What does that mean?
Oh God, yeah, you got to be like, managing, controlling.
Okay, I release in the storm my need to control this scene. When I try, it ruins it because I can't behave as if it's really happening. So I am going to ask my higher power to lovingly guide me through it. And however it goes, it was meant to go, even if it's badly.
Okay.
Because if it goes badly, somehow that saved my life. And I don't know how, but I know it did. Anything else your vulture was saying?
Just, it's kind of sad. He's kind of yelling at me and telling me I was stupid.
What's coming up for you when you think about this concept of being told you're stupid? Because sometimes it can be a breakthrough. You don't have to say anything you don't want to say. What's coming up for you right now?
Just a lot of sadness. You know, I a lot of compassion for myself.
What does that sadness remind you of from your childhood? And you don't have to say anything you don't want to say. Okay, you can't go there. So what I'd say is this.
I mean,
That tells
that it's
I
abuse.
need you. You don't have to. The details don't matter. But what I want you to know is
Yeah.
you are having a lot of emotion, more than really what's called for a stupid audition workshop, right?
Right.
That's called hysterical. It's fine to have hysterical feelings, but it's hysterical simply means more than what's called for.
Okay.
Here's what's going to change your life. If it's hysterical, it's historical, meaning you're not reacting to being in this workshop.
Yeah.
You're reacting to something from your childhood, which
Right.
means you can stop because you're not in your childhood anymore.
Right.
So you're projecting this person or situation from your childhood on your present day, which once you find that out, why would you ever continue doing it? So in order to let go of this, all you have to do is for the next 12 to 24 hours, whenever you're around people that more than one person, just take a moment to say, they're not my childhood. They're not my mom, or
Okay.
they're not my dad. And then this illusion will fall away and you'll be able to have, okay, so read my chapter about it.
Okay.
Introduce yourself to your inner child so that you can be a loving parent to your inner child instead of the old abusive one.
Got it.
I love that you connected to that, and what I love too is that you are able to experience the grief process, which we all need to go through when we've had trauma in our life. But I'm happy that you're past the point of saying, well, that didn't happen, and you're to the point of saying it happened and it sucked, and I don't want to treat myself that way anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, okay, moving on. Anything else you want to share? Anything perhaps that felt better than usual based on what you've been working on with me? Okay. Anything else that your vulture was saying?
No, it's just those things pretty much over and kind of at me.
Well, good news. You don't, when you say the affirmations, you don't even have to believe them. But if you just keep saying to yourself over and over, I release and destroy my need to be perfect. I release and destroy my need to get it right. Then guess what? You're not listening to your vulture saying you need to be perfect. You need to get it right.
Right.
Was there any other big thing your vulture was saying? I forget, other than get it right, be perfect.
Control and I'm stupid. Those were pretty much the three main deals.
Guess what? I'm stupid too, but in the best way. In the best way. Like turn it into something that's awesome, because I don't want to be great at numbers. The world has enough bankers.
Yeah.
The world needs more artists. And artists are meant to paint with their fingers and whistle a tune and skip in the daisies. So release and destroy your need not to be stupid.
Okay.
Because stupid people are beautiful artists. Anyway, we're going to do the scene again. And what I would just say is it is hard to tickle yourself when you've got a vulture screaming all that bullshit, right?
Exactly.
So, right. So we're just going to say, you know what? I release and destroy my need to get it right. I'm just going to see what happens, because that's really what acting is just one of the many. I'm going to discover one of the many ways a scene could look. Now let's do our scene comprehension again. Because a scene is a series of improvs about specific circumstances. Now, the first part of the scene is an improv about getting an update from my employee. Okay, I'm getting an update, and I'm just seeming to be completely fine. I'm a normal boss until all of a sudden I'm going to do an improv about everything you do sucks. Which is quite funny to suddenly do an improv about letting someone know you're rotten at everything. Which is so unexpected because you weren't seeming to be that boss. But then a moment later, you're going to do an improv, which is as if that never happened. I'm doing an improv about, I'm talking to my friend and saying, hey, want to go out? You've talked to friends and asked them if they want to go out and see a movie or get drunk a million times, haven't you? Well, you're going to just throw an improv about that in the middle of this scene where it seems to have no place. An improv about being a boss, an improv about being someone who thinks everything you do is rotten to hell, and then an improv about a best friend saying we should totally get drunk. And you're going to be tickling yourself with your genuine human behavior when you keep jumping from these completely different improvs, right? Then, after being an improv about talking to a friend about just getting loaded in college, all of a sudden you're going to be an improv about talking to a friend about somebody who is the worst. You've been a kid and talked about how Sheila in math class is the worst. Everything about her makes me sick. She smells bad. She picks her nose. You see, and that's the improv after the improv about it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you get what this scene is about?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing I said surprised you, right? It's all obvious, right? That's the great thing about scene comprehension. It's so easy that whenever I go through it, people always go, oh yeah, no, I knew that, but I just made something more important than that. And in this case, you made getting it right, being a good actress as more important than those literal circumstances, right?
Yes.
Well, now all we care about are those little circumstances, and we can't wait to do an improv about them and tickle yourself with your genuine human behavior. As a matter of fact, you can act this from your eighth grade self, from your 11-year-old self. Tell me, where did you go to middle school?
I went to Loomis Grammar School.
And who were your best girlfriends in middle school or sixth grade?
Kathy Cummings and Kathy Wiesner.
Okay, and again, you're not even an actress. Just act this from your eighth grade self. Say this with me. Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Here we go. We're starting this improv. Well, he hasn't been hearing all that well recently.
Right, I've noticed.
Yeah, and I asked his kids, and if he thought I said something different.
What did he think you said?
He thought I asked if his pits hurt, and then he lifted up his shirt, and he pulled all his underarm hair out.
All of it?
Yeah, all of it. There were some strands left, but most of it. Poor guy.
How much water have you been giving him?
Normal. I mean, like he goes through like a pitcher a day.
You need to give better care to him, pay more attention.
Well, of how much water he drinks?
That and everything. Hey, would you want to grab dinner some night this week after work?
Okay, good. The reason why I'm stopping you is because if you hold on to the way you memorized it, you'll never be able to receive the gifts that the universe is throwing at you. Because the way you've memorized it, you've fallen into a groove, which is causing you to just say the lines the same way. So you really got to commit to saying, no. I memorized so that I would have the tools to allow the universe to color these words whatever way it wants.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about your life, and so you can bring right into the scene how you think and communicate. But you've got to let go of any idea of how you've ever heard these words in your mind.
Okay.
What'd you have for breakfast today?
I had a green smoothie that had too much.
You're going to start from me telling you that he tore all the arm out from his underarms. And when you were younger, where would you go to get drunk with your girlfriends? Anywhere in particular?
Just usually in the backyard of somebody's house.
Who?
Who?
Can you say the name of the girl whose house?
Yeah, it was Kathy's.
Yeah, why Kathy's house? Why was that where you got drunk?
She had a great backyard that we could go back there and drink.
And he had ripped all his underarm hair out.
All of it?
Hey, listen, want to feel, but remember the character doesn't. You're controlling, and just trust me, I'm a girl covered in dirt, and I'm going to start touching walls, and you're wearing all white, and your walls are always all white. Do you follow what I mean?
Okay.
And I'm covered in shit that I might wipe on the walls. But you don't like to yell at people, so you kill them with kindness. I'm throwing new circumstances into your belly. And they're fun tools to play with, to tickle yourself with when you're dressed in all white and the walls are white, but I'm covered in shit. And he had just pulled all his underarm hair out and just tore it all out right from the root.
All of it?
Most of it. Poor guy.
How much water have you been giving him?
A normal amount, like a pitcher a day.
Keep better track, please.
You mean of the water he drinks?
That and everything. Hey.
Hmm?
Do you want to grab dinner some night this week after work? Go to Chi-Chi's or something at the mall?
Me and you?
Yeah, dummy. Unless you want to invite Michelle, but A, nah, and B, I feel like you guys have tension.
Me and Michelle have tension?
Well, you tell me. I don't know. How about Thursday? We could catch a round of Dance Revolution at that place near the food.
Uh, okay, sure.
Good. Woo, very good. Now bring him to bed, please.
What was your experience that time?
It was, it was much better because I wasn't in my head.
Now,
And
I don't allow people to say in their head because your brain's always in your head.
all
But when
right,
an actor says, I was in my head, or I wasn't connected, or I was watching all these things simply mean in that moment their vulture was squawking. So I think what you meant to say, without putting words in your mouth, is would you agree that what you meant to say is, wow, my vulture was silent that time?
yes, thank you. Thank you. Much better. I mean, it was a little,
This is why, well, of course, you're not going to let yourself receive that I'm telling you that was fucking amazing.
oh.
No, there was no part of that that was eh.
No, I was
It was
like, oh,
beautiful.
thank you.
I know it was beautiful, and I'm just pointing out to you that you have one life to live, and you are surrounded by by earth, by all the gifts the universe wants you to enjoy while you're here. Don't deny yourself any of them, because your higher power loves you and the universe loves you.
Okay.
But anyway, the reason why you were able to do that is because you silenced your vulture, and that's why I teach actors the number one job as an actor is to silence your vulture, because acting's easy. It's uncomfortable, but boy, you'll agree that was easy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was goddamn funny because you made the scene comprehension more important than your result-oriented fears coming from your vulture. So please, people, that's why all I do is memorizing scene comprehension, because anything past that, you'll receive in the performance, and also any concerns, result-oriented concerns, aren't going to help you to behave as if it's really happening. So very good work.
Thank
Practice
you.
the affirmations all day long whenever your vulture squawks. You don't just say them all day long. You say them when your vulture squawks. And also do the exercise where you practice reminding yourself that the people in your present day are not your childhood, so that you won't project your childhood on your present day.
Okay.
Because you deserve to be loved exactly as you are.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we're going to take a 3-minute break, and then we're going to be back with Tyler. So thank you guys. I'll be right back. See you in a minute. Hello, everybody. I'm eating a peanut butter sandwich. Tyler, I'm so sorry.
No, it's no problem, actually. I got confused. I didn't read the email, but I've done improv in the past, so I'm happy just to do some improv and learn from. Sorry, I didn't read the email close enough, but yeah.
Okay, so what if you went last and I sent you a scene to look at? Because I don't really, I've never worked on improv in my workshop.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that could work too.
Okay, sorry about the confusion. And you would like to do a comedy scene?
Sure. Yeah.
And do you care if it's filmed or sitcom?
Whatever. I'll do whatever. Yeah.
I'm going to send you something, and listen, just memorize as much of it as you can. If you can memorize just like the first half of it, that's going to be fine.
Cool.
But yeah, the way the workshop works is, I'm not talking to you, Tyler. I'm just letting everybody know that's watching on YouTube, so they're not confused by this. Is that when you sign up, you get a scene, or you can also bring your own scene. I just really like this scene. I think I'm going to give you the scene. I think you should do the first scene that I'm sending you because it has two.
Okay.
And it's a scene where a guy, he still lives with his mom, and he wakes up next to this ugly girl in his bed because he doesn't want her there. You'll see.
Sounds good.
Text me if you don't get it, but you should get it. You should have gotten it by now. That means that we're going to be doing Hillary now, but she doesn't seem to even have come today, or she's at least Hillary. Are you out there? I'm gonna, Tyler. Let me know if you see it in your email while I look for Hillary. Hillary. Okay, so
I see it. Todd, copy too.
Yeah, just do the first scene, okay?
Cool.
Oh boy, Daryl, I hate to tell you this. I hope you don't mind. Give me a thumbs up if you don't mind. Okay, if you need a minute though, we can give you a minute. No? Okay, I don't understand where Hillary is, but so be it. We're gonna do you. Hi there, have I worked with you before? I don't know if I have.
It's been a long time. It was like probably 10 years ago in New York that I worked.
Oh,
with.
nice to see you again.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
scene are you doing? Aaron or Adam?
Aaron.
Okay. So Aaron is a filmed half-hour comedy. And just to kind of set it up for the people watching, is that Aaron is going to ask his girlfriend to marry him. And he's on the doorstep of her apartment building. He's knocked on the door. Now he's filled this porch with 6 dozen roses and hired Yo-Yo Ma, the famous cellist, to play a love song. So he's obviously spent a lot of money to set this porch up. And again, it's a filmed half-hour comedy. Now I'm going to be playing his girlfriend, but then also a big fat naked, like shirtless man is going to enter the scene as well. So you have the first line. So I'm going to just say, you begin when you're ready.
Okay. Hey, Katie. I was just in the neighborhood with award-winning cellist Yo-Yo Ma, and thought I'd drop by. How you doing?
Oh, hey, Aaron. Listen, I'm sorry I didn't call you back. Things have been kind of crazy. So how about I just call you later?
Look, Katie, I get it. You're scared. You don't know if I'm serious about this or if I'm just playing with your head. So I want to make a gesture that I'm pretty confident will clear and make everything very obvious how I feel. Katie,
Hey, Katie, come back to bed.
want to know who that is.
I'm ready to go again. I finished my sandwich. Oh, hey, how's it going? I'm Dirty Mike.
Hi, I'm Aaron. Just Aaron.
Is that a ring?
No. I mean, yes, it is a ring because it just so happens I am going to propose later. You don't know her. She's Welsh.
Mazel tov, dude. Way to man up.
You know what? That's a lie. Actually,
Good. I'm going to stop you there. I'm going to stop you there. Good. What's your experience of that? Anything come up you don't care for? Anything your vulture was squawking about?
I mean, the vulture was definitely like, watching and waiting to. I felt the presence of it. I didn't feel it squawking. I felt it watching and judging a little bit. So.
Okay, so pause 1 second. Your vulture is always on your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, it's always watching.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're saying that the vulture was judging, that means the vulture was saying something very specific. So I'm going to ask your vulture now, vulture, what were you saying that was judging it?
Probably just saying, that I'm not feeling as grounded as I thought I would. So it's like, hey, you must be doing something wrong because you're not as grounded as you thought you'd be, type thing.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Now we can let your vulture know that you're not interested in what it's saying. So you don't say, no, I am grounded. Because by the way, people, the truth is you're always grounded. You didn't lift up off the floor and float to the ceiling. You're always grounded. But when an actor says, oh, I didn't feel grounded or I wasn't connected, it simply means in that moment their vulture was squawking. So essentially that means your vulture was not saying you're not grounded. Your vulture was going, I'm squawking. And you went, oh God. So, but here's the answer. Release and destroy your need to be grounded. Is a man going through the most exciting, uncomfortable, thrilling, awful moment of his life grounded? No. So the universe sent you a gift of feeling not grounded to align you with the character or circumstances, and you went, oh no, I don't like that. I don't want to feel not grounded. I want to feel a thing called grounded or comfortable. And if you feel comfortable in this scene, you are not behaving as if it's really happening, because this is the most uncomfortable moment of his life. At first for a good reason, later for a horrible reason.
Yeah.
Right? So your vulture said, you're not grounded, so you can't do this scene. Just tell him also, look, I'm going to take it from wherever I am. So I can't suddenly be a thing called grounded. If I'm not grounded, I'm not grounded. So I'll just take it from where I am. I can do this scene not grounded. But grounded, connected, these are words that teachers use to ruin your acting so that you'll stay in their class to learn their 15-step technique to being grounded. Anything else your vulture was saying?
I would say like the only other thing that I guess was in my head that came up right away, which I meant to ask and I didn't. So that was like on me, was like, what is my eye line for this type of audition?
Okay, well, I'm glad you realized that you should have said something, because I always tell actors you want to make them your partner, the person auditioning you. And if you have any questions about circumstances or eye lines or anything, they want to hear that so they can be a partner in your audition. And that way you won't be thinking during the audition, oh, I wish I had asked this because I don't know what I should be doing.
Right.
To which I would say, it's the 9th take. So the director said, I don't care where you look. I already have a take where you're looking in the exact right places.
Okay.
If you really want to talk through it, what I'd say is it's always obvious, pick a spot for her. And when he comes in, you can just look anywhere. Wherever you look, it's where he is. And then whenever he talks, you could look there. Or if all of a sudden the scene becomes just between you and him, then you can just stick him in the first spot. And they don't care because they're not keeping track of it.
Right.
They don't care.
Okay, cool.
Okay, what else? Anything else you want to share about your experience?
I mean, I did find some fun in it. Like I felt like this is fun to be doing this and experiencing.
And did it feel kind of as fun as it always feels, or would you say it felt more fun today based on what you're kind of working on today or picking up today?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a little bit since I've worked on something and presented it in this fashion. So,
but I guess what I'm saying is, if this felt more fun than usual when you think back to how you were auditioning before you took some time off, that would probably mean it's because your vulture couldn't say something today that he used to get away with saying.
Right.
In which case, I'd be curious what that is.
Right.
Or you could say, no, I don't think that's the case.
Well, I think that, yeah, I think before, I think a lot of what, your affirmations and a lot of the things that you reminded me of is just like, it's fake and have fun. So I literally am just like not judging like that feeling of being like, I am having fun. So.
Okay, so because you had less vulture squawking or what you call judging,
Mm-hmm.
you found that you were able to have more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a horrific growth. And that's permanent as long as you keep saying whatever you said to yourself today that made your vulture not say the thing it used to be able to say, it won't say it the next time, and it'll move on to something else. But you just keep letting it know, I'm not interested in that. I release and destroy my need for that thing you say I want.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll have this experience every time. And I did think that was a fun audition. I thought it was quite good. And what I would say to you is this, that in a sitcom, you can make all the choices you want. You can muscle every moment.
Okay.
In a drama, you don't make any choices. In this, which is a filmed half-hour comedy, it kind of lives right in the middle between the two, which means throughout the scene, for half the scene, you can be muscling moments and making choices, but throughout the scene, for half the scene, you're not going to make any choices and instead just see what happens.
Right.
And that's not something I plan. That's a wave I ride. So in other words, in a filmed half-hour comedy, if I find that I like really squeeze a moment or muscle a moment to tickle myself, then I'm just going to like maybe not do that for the next moment. Just throw it away and instead see what happens to me based on the circumstances. But
Right.
I felt that you were over muscling this scene, over controlling it, which made it feel more like a sitcom guest star
Right.
than a filmed half-hour comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think a little bit, because that is the balance I was trying to find with this piece, because it does lend itself to kind of a
Okay, so good. So here's what I want to share with you is I want to see who you are, and I can't see that if you're busy taking care of every moment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, good news, everything about who you are is pouring out of you when you behave as if it's really happening.
Mm-hmm.
So that just happens without you even need to do anything, as long as you, but what happens is that actors think, oh, I'm nothing, I'm not enough. So instead, I'll just layer in front of myself a sort of thin layer of idea of the character and scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then we really can't see you through that thin layer of your idea of the way the scene should look and sound.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'd say is, we're going to do it again. And I want you to get rid of that responsibility to show what the scene will look like, to do anything but just behave as if it's really happening to you for the first time and trust that you're enough. Your experience is enough.
Okay.
But remember, it's an improv about acting casual, which means you're anything but, meaning you're not feeling casual because you really want to impress her, obviously, and you're tickling yourself with your genuine human behavior when you really want to impress someone. So you've spent $6,000, maybe $10,000, maybe $20,000, and you're trying to pretend that everything's cool. And then you're going to ask her to marry you. And then it's an improv about a fat fucker covered in your girlfriend's spit. Wonder what the fuck? And you're tickling yourself with your own genuine human behavior when you have no idea what to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So I'm going to talk to you for a moment about your own life so you can remember how you really think and communicate.
Okay.
And then the goal is to bring right into the scene how you really think and communicate, knowing we already saw the scene the way you thought it should look.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great. But this time, just go, well, then this time I'll just see what happens. I'm going to really approach it like an improv, like it's really happening, and just see what happens. When you were younger, what were your favorite foods?
I was always cheeseburger, pizza, staple.
What's the best place to get a cheeseburger in your hometown?
Or
was it your mom's cheeseburgers?
Well, yeah, it was my mom's cheeseburger. She would always make that. It was like a fun thing that we would do on certain nights, so that we would just have a great little treat.
Did you have a restaurant that you always wanted your parents to take you to? And by the way, you can act this scene from your 8-year-old self, meaning fuck it, right? Say fuck it with me. Fuck it.
Fuck
right? Fuck it. But did you have a restaurant that you loved to go to? You got excited when you were going?
Yeah, there was this restaurant called Shoney's that used to exist, and it was like a very
Start the scene. Start the scene.
Hey, Katie, I was just in the neighborhood with award-winning cellist Yo-Yo Ma, and thought I'd drop by. How you doing?
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I didn't call you back, Aaron. I've just been hey, listen, is it okay if I call you later?
Look, Katie, I get it, okay? You're scared. And you don't know if I'm serious about this or if, I'm just messing with your head. So I want to make a gesture that I'm pretty confident will make things really clear. Katie,
Hey, Katie, come back to bed.
To know who that is.
I'm ready to go again. I finished my sandwich. Oh, hey, how's it going, Dirty Mike?
Hi, I'm Aaron. Just Aaron.
Is that a ring?
No. I mean, yes, it is a ring because I was planning to propose to someone. I mean, later, you'll know her. She's Welsh.
I'm going to stop you there.
Mhm.
Let me ask you, was that easier or harder than the first time?
It was easier,
Was it more fun or less fun?
more fun.
This is what I love about this workshop. Whenever actors have a beautiful adjustment, and that audition blew my mind. And when you watch it back, you're going to be blown away. You're going to go, I don't remember doing that. I don't remember doing that. Actors always say it was easier and more fun when they had a great adjustment, which I guess means that acting is easier and more fun than you thought, right?
Right.
And if it's better and easier, that means it's not better because we worked on it at all, or you picked up some new technique. If it's better and easier, that means it's better because you stopped being involved in things you don't need to be involved in, things that make your acting harder and not as fun, which was anything your vulture was saying, because I think you'll agree that time you had zero vulture squawking, right?
Right, yeah.
Well, then here's how easy acting is. Next time you act, all you got to do is say, up, vulture, no. I release and destroy my need for anything you're saying, even if it sounds totally true. And then you'll do what you just did so easily and so well.
Thank you.
Because all that exercise does is get your vulture to shut up.
Right.
The affirmations do that better than the exercise. The affirmations are a better way to make your vulture shut up because they deal specifically with the thing that your ego, the half of you that wants you to fail, the trick it's playing on you. Because it's not saying the truth. Right. But what I love about that is we got to see the difference between showing what the scene will look like in the finished product to a certain point, which is not fun, and doesn't bookwork as much as what you just did, which was the 9th take, with the director said, this one's for you, just play, I don't care. Yeah. Because boy, did you. Now, I call acting jumping out into darkness and trusting a net will catch you. And to do that, you have to create a reality where there's no such thing as failure, which is the last chapter of my book, The 5 Concepts. Because that time you just said the words and you were like, let's see what happens. That's acting.
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable as fuck. It's supposed to be, but it's exciting. But what you tended to do and what you did the first time is you keep putting the brakes on the scene going, whoa, 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 horses. We have to see if the ground in front of us is safe before we go to the next spot. Don't do that. It's all safe.
Right.
Step in shit. See what happens. Throw some spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks.
Right.
Great work.
Thank you. Excellent.
Yeah, when you watch that back, you're going to be like, oh my God, I don't remember doing that. I don't remember saying it like that. I don't remember making that sound. It was filled with magic moments of spontaneous surprise. People, I'm going to make you go away, sorry. Bye. People, you can't fake spontaneity, and it's what they're looking for in the room. Because when something surprises you in the room, there's an electric spark of surprise. Everyone in the room feels it, and the more of those you have, the better chance you have of booking the job. So every actor's motto should be, all I want to do is surprise myself, which is the opposite of what so many teachers are teaching. Because then the actors would go, oh, that's how easy it is? Okay, I'm going to leave and start a theater company or my own web series and like go and have a great career. They don't make money from that. Now, that was harsh, but there's a number of teachers doing that. And there are also great teachers out there. And I believe any really good teacher reminds you constantly that acting is easy and fun. The best way to grow as an actor is to do your acting, is to act. And I don't think a class is the healthiest place to act, because then what you're doing is setting up a relationship to your art where you only do it when there's a person in the room telling you how it could be better. I say surround yourself by artists who inspire you, who you respect, grow together, learn from them, or just learn by doing. Okay, so up next, unless Hillary is here, no, she's never showed up. And then did Janet, did you perform? You did. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so that means we've done Daryl, so now we're doing Tim. We only have 2 more performances unless Hillary shows up. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi there, we worked together before.
Yes, once before. It was a couple months ago in New York.
I thought I was about to say in the city.
Yes,
Fun.
yeah.
Okay, so you're going to be doing a lead in a sitcom.
Mm-hmm.
And Adam has just moved to a new city, and he is renting a desk at a WeWork space, which is, communal workspace. And in this scene, Adam's going to meet a cute girl, and it says he walks in, unsure where to go. He sees a young woman, and he approaches. So you have the first line. So again, to the people out there, it's a sitcom audition. Whenever you're ready, you can begin the scene.
Hey, I'm Adam. This is my first time at WeWork. So how does this WeWork work? Sorry.
Oh, no, you grab a desk and you just do what you do. What do you do?
I'm a cartoonist.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, thanks.
So what, like animation stuff or?
No, strip. Cartooning. Strip cartooning. I'm not telling you to strip because we're in a workplace and you and I just met.
Yeah, I usually like to know a person first before I strip for them. It's kind of my thing.
Me too. So yeah, I do like old school 1 to 4 panel cartoons, loosely based on my life. It's called Bro. Maybe you've heard of it. Well, it's about a single guy living in Seattle, which is where I was before my almost fiance decided she did not want to almost marry me. And so I moved back here to Portland. And that was far more info than you wanted.
Well, so you're like the guy that draws Snoopy?
Well, that guy's super rich and sadly no longer with us. But yeah.
Oh, so are you going to be in the Oregonian now? I love the Sunday funnies. I'd love to read them.
Well, funny story. All my stuff's online, which is actually better because newspapers are dying. So.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, I mean, online is where it's at. I have like 40,000 subscribers, so pretty cool. What do you do?
I'm a newspaper reporter.
Of course.
I'm kidding. I'm a YouTube star.
Funny.
No, I'm serious. Good. What's your experience of that? Anything come up you don't care for? Anything your vulture was squawking?
Like there were, sometimes my vulture was saying, "You're not being genuine," or "You're not in the moment." I don't know.
So I release in a storm I need to be genuine.
Mm-hmm.
I release in a storm I need to be in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
The definition of acting isn't it's genuinely happening.
Mm-hmm.
Acting's fake. The definition is I'm going to behave as if it's really happening. If I say it, it's true. There's no such thing as genuine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to give you all the different things to say because your vulture is going to have a lot of comebacks when you say I release in a storm I need to be genuine.
Oh yeah.
But I have faith. I have the character's thoughts and feelings. And then the words I just throw away. I'm behaving as if it's really happening. The walls are never going to melt and you're going to suddenly be in a WeWork space, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Instead, my 2 words for acting are faith and trust. I have faith I'm in a WeWork space. I trust that I'm attracted to her. So fuck genuine. Anything that doesn't sound like faith and trust isn't helping your acting. Okay. You can get rid of it. Then your vulture said, what? You're not genuine. And then it said,
"You're not in the moment." Like,
okay, let me tell you, have you seen me show how the best moment of your audition is when you forget a line?
I think so.
Okay, well, I can show it again, but I don't want to go into that too much now. There is no such thing as being in the moment. Because the truth is, you're always in the moment, unless you break character and go, oh, I'm sorry, I can't remember my line. You're always in the moment because they're projecting things on you. They're projecting fascinating thoughts and feelings on you. They're acting for you and with you.
Mm-hmm.
So release and destroy your need to be a thing called in the moment, because the truth is, when you forget a line and are forced to go, what's my line? While you're thinking, what the fuck is my line? It looks like the character's thinking. They're projecting fascinating thoughts on you. It's actually the best moment of your audition. Because what could be more real than a human standing in front of another human thinking what to say? Because every scene you ever do is a scene about a person who doesn't know what they're going to say.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Perfect.
Okay. Anything else your vulture was saying? No?
I think no.
Okay.
Yeah. I think just like, and we all, and like, you feel this way and other people feel this way. This platform, like virtual, is a little awkward. Like it's harder not to.
Being uncomfortable, I don't talk about, because being uncomfortable is what we always are when we're acting. And you might be more uncomfortable doing it online like this, but that doesn't affect the acting. We can't read your mind. And so I don't discuss it. Okay. Now, tell me something. Anything feel better than usual based on what you've been working on? Or is that kind of how your auditions tend to feel?
It felt more like I wasn't as stressed, I guess, or I was.
I think what you're saying is I had less anxiety. Anxiety is the feeling caused by your vulture squawking. So if you're saying I had less vulture squawking, my next question would be, terrific. What did your vulture used to get away with saying that he couldn't say today because of what we've been working on today?
Like essentially what he was saying, what my vulture was saying before, but also like you're not good, you're not acting, like just the stereotypical, like you're
wonderful. This is huge. And it will never get away with saying that stuff again. It'll move on to some new argument for why you're not going to book the job. But that's fucking fantastic. And isn't it a joy to get to do your art without a vulture on your shoulder saying you can't act, and all those other things that you just shared with us he used to say?
Yeah, it's really
wonderful.
Nice.
Well, look, it was a fan-fucking-tastic audition.
Thank you.
Great work. I loved this audition, and so we're going to do it again, and I want to give you, because the goal is always, to keep going down that road of having a richer, more surprising, more emotional experience.
Okay.
Another way to put it is the casting person might say, I like him, I just wish I want to see more of who you are. And actors hate hearing that, because it's like, well, how do I do that? And the answer is simple. You just even more approach every moment like an improv. In other words, it's really happening, which means it's happening for the first time, which means you don't know what you're going to say and you don't know what I'm going to say, and anything can happen. These are just the words, but anything could. So let me give you another way to put what I just said, because you did it. You did this in certain parts of the scene, but more like in the second half. See, here's the thing. Actors, they think their job is to say these lines and say them well. And because they think their job is to say the lines and say them well, they go through their audition like they're going down a narrow hallway where they've just got to say these lines and say them well. And when that happens, then you feel constricted by the walls of the hallway and you end up racing through the scene and you're like, oh, that was fast. How was I? But see, I want you guys to be the actors who break down those walls that you feel constrict you. And instead you see the scene as this big, wide open playing field where anything could happen. These are just the words, but anything could happen in terms of thought, sound, movement, added words. You know what I mean? And then you're the actor who's really approaching it like an improv. It's a sandbox you're playing in, because the scenes are never about the words. The scenes are about what's happening in the scene. And what's happening in the scene is you're meeting a cute girl, but you just keep not saying the right thing. It's like, but anyway, the opening moment is a good example of how you raced through the scene. Now, this is subtle stuff. You could absolutely book the job with what you did in the opening moment. But another actor is going to take the joyful risk of having faith that they're walking in, having faith that they are unsure of where to go, having faith that they see a young woman, and having faith that they are now approaching her to do an improv about asking how WeWork works.
Okay.
But you just went, no, it's this is my first line. I'm supposed to start, you know. But again, it was a great first line. But let's say to yourself, hey, let's not take the fuck out of this. Meaning we already saw it. The director has what he needs, and it's brilliant. And the director says, well, I guess since we're doing it again, I guess you don't have to do any of that brilliant stuff. Gosh, I guess just see what happens. Just behave as if it's really happening. It's a sitcom, so release and destroy your need to be funny, but you are here to tickle yourself with your own genuine human behavior. It's the ninth take. Just you have permission to do it badly, and you can take all the time you want. Fuck it. In a sitcom, stakes are kind of like, anyway, you really think she's cute. It's a sitcom. She's not sort of cute. She's really cute. So here to tickle yourself with your genuine human behavior. Here we go.
Hey, I'm Adam. This is my first time at WeWork. So how does this WeWork work?
Well, you grab a desk and do what you do. And what do you do?
I'm a cartoonist.
Oh, cool. Okay, good. Because I really loved it the first time, I want to just play with this opening moment, and then we're going to keep going this time. But I want you to physicalize it in the screen that you're in, walking in, and that could just be this much of a move, okay. Not knowing where to go, seeing a girl, approaching her, realizing she's cute, and then doing an improv about meeting someone. Because I feel like I feel like you're just trying to find an answer for this opening moment, and when you find an answer for it, nothing can happen. Mm-hmm. But when you say the word hey, you don't know what you're going to say after that. When you say the word Adam, you don't know what you're going to. What I mean is anything can happen in the span of one line, because if you allow it, that's what seeing it as an improv is about just seeing what the fuck happens. And I want to raise the stakes just the tiniest bit, because that's what will make more of your behavior come out of you. I don't need high stakes because you're not a guest star in a sitcom, but that when I say sitcom and he's unsure of where to go, he really doesn't know where to go. That's what will make your behavior come out of you. You see a young woman, she's not kind of cute, she's really cute. Then whatever, if you're trying to be adorable, you really want to be adorable, but put that in your belly. I don't want you to feel like you have to show me bigger behavior. It's about just wanting things more, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Okay? So fuck it.
Fuck it.
You have permission to hate me, and you can act this from your 8-year-old self. This isn't even how you're really going to do it. This is just one you're just playing. Who cares? Okay, here we go.
Hey, I'm Adam. This is my first time at WeWork. So how does this WeWork work?
Well, you just grab a desk, you just do what you do. What do you do?
I'm a cartoonist.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah, thanks.
So what, like animation stuff or?
No, strip. Cartooning. Strip cartooning. I'm not trying to tell you to strip, because, this is a workplace, and, I've just met you, so. Yeah,
no, I usually like to know people a little better before I start stripping for them.
Oh, me too. Yeah. So yeah, I do like 1 to 4 panel old school cartoons, loosely based on my life. It's called Bro. Maybe you've heard of it. Well, it's about a single guy living in Seattle, which is where I was before my almost fiance decided she did not want to almost marry me. And so I moved back to Portland, and that was far more info than you wanted. So
okay, good. So here's what I'm seeing. You're from theater, right?
Yes.
You have tremendous control of your instrument, because theater is harder than film acting. And so that's why I love the first scene. because you had great comprehension. You had funny ideas that were tickling you that you enacted for us. But what I'm seeing now is that when you get a chance to do a scene again, we're back to your original ideas of how you thought you should do it, hoping that what I'm saying to you will somehow alter those ideas and make them better.
Okay.
Whereas and by the way, I could be wrong. This is just, I'm, in limited time, this is what I'm telling you, I'm picking up. That I want you to make the improv you're doing the most important thing. Understanding what that improv is and approaching it like an improv, not like a performance of a theater show.
Okay.
Where you're fine-tuning your delivery. Because you can't fake spontaneity. And every time you let something surprise you, what a joy. I mean, I loved when you went, okay. I mean, that's receiving a gift from the magic of acting, and it thrilled you a little.
Yeah.
And that should be the only thing you want. And it's not about shtick. It's about, okay, so there I had that moment, but now I'm just going to see what happens when I do an improv about meeting someone, or an improv about bragging about this thing you have. It's called a bro. And it's, I'm sure you've heard of it, right? It's you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
I don't know what anything is going to look like, because the joy of acting of a sitcom is being surprised. When I come up with ideas for a sitcom scene, I never enact them full out until I'm in the room. I will do them quietly to myself so I can experience them full out for the first time in front of my audience, the producers, to see what happens.
Okay.
Knowing that if it doesn't, but I hold my ideas lightly in a sitcom audition. I say, I'm planning on enacting this, but if the universe sends me something better, I'm going to go with that. So what I would just say is, when you're somebody like you with, theater background who has great control of their instrument, you do have to be careful that you don't get in the habit of controlling the audition, because then there goes all the surprises.
Okay.
And we don't get to see as much of you as we would see in those moments where you let go of your control. Because we want to believe, if you want to get a lead in a sitcom, we have to feel like we're seeing an entire person that we could spend 7 years getting to know. So you have to let everything about you come out in these little moments that happen behind your eyes. If you scratch your face, if you stutter and stumble,
Okay.
And if you're controlling it, you're not going to allow all those nooks and crannies to come in to get to see more of who you are. Does all that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. I think I just need, that's another thing my vulture, I guess it was saying, is like, you're not in control, you're controlling it too much, or you're not in control. And I need to be.
Your vulture wouldn't, it's a loving thought to say you're controlling it too much, but you wouldn't want to put it that way, because saying you're controlling this too much is not going to make you let go of your control. What will is to lovingly say, hey, you don't have to control the scene. Not you're controlling it too much.
Yeah.
But your vulture may be going, oh God, you're not controlling the scene. It might go badly. And that's to make you take back control of the scene. But yes, you can control a scene a little in a sitcom, but if you're too good at it, you may just lean onto it and not want anything to surprise you. And then what else? I can't remember now. I would just say, that opening moment, I just thought, I don't need that much time. It's just a moment. It's a moment of, let me see where I am. I would just, hi. You know what I mean? It's just like you kind of milked it past what it made any sense.
Okay.
It's not what's important in the scene. Okay, anyway, again, great work. I loved it the first time you did it. And now we're kind of bumping up against where you're controlling and where you could afford. And so I would recommend, like when I do my content, which I hope everybody out there is making content, because you got to be doing that. I mean, there's no jobs to get right now. So be doing your art, but out of class, be making. So anyway, when I do my content, I do improv, and then I find it in the editing. And I would recommend that you start making content where you're improvising in character and finding it in the editing, because that's when you're going to start experiencing what it feels like to constantly do the 9th take. Because if you're improvising, you can't go, okay, good, this is how I'm going to say this line, which is when we're used to theater, that's all play rehearsal is. It can really start to feel like that's our job as actors, is to figure out the right line delivery. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
I can.
I figured I'd look as professional as possible.
I see you've dressed in character to be this high-powered agent. But no, I could imagine an agent wearing a baseball hat. Why not?
True. I don't think I even have a suit. And that's why I picked this one over the other, because this one's a bit more of a stretch. Like this person, I can't.
Wait, hold on. Let's talk about all that stuff after. And instead, we're going to do this filmed half-hour comedy audition. And this is fun for us to see because we got to see this scene already, and it's fun to get to see it again. And this is that scene where the agent is talking to his client. So you have the first line, so you can begin whenever you're ready.
Okay. Oh, incredible stuff. Congratulations. I mean, this could be an award for you.
Yeah, thanks, Jim.
Brilliant. Just brilliant work. God damn, Ryan.
Okay, calm down.
I'm sorry. I'm just like a little bit worked up, you know. You're like,
Okay, well, anything else, Jim?
Yeah. What do you think of this watch? It's fucking sweet, right?
It's not really my style.
What if I could tell you that you could make $2 million for one day of work?
No, I told you I don't want to do that advertising bullshit.
Come on. You know, even Tom Cruise does this shit. It only airs in Japan.
No, come on. To me, that feels like a sellout.
Are you kidding? This is easy money.
No, I don't know. I don't wear that brand of watch. It's just awful.
Hey, Jason, hold my calls. All right. I'll tell you what. There's this service we use. They come into your house while you sleep, tranquilize you, just hear me, tranquilize you, transport you to the shoot, pose you, take the shots, transport you back home, put you back in bed before you wake up $2 million richer.
Really? That's a thing?
Yeah. All of the stars are doing it now.
And it's only for foreign markets.
Yeah. Yes. So
Good. Let's stop there. Good. Okay, so let's talk about your experience of doing that. Did anything come up you don't care for? Was there anything your vulture was squawking about?
It's been squawking the whole time.
No. When I'm in a waiting room, my vulture is constantly squawking. And so whenever my vulture squawks, so I don't talk about what your vulture is saying before you audition. What matters is, can we get our vulture to shut up as we're walking into the audition room and right before, so that during the scene, it's silent. So it doesn't matter what your vulture was saying before. What I want to know is, while you were acting, was there anything that your vulture was squawking about?
Just spending more time getting the lines down. And
what was your vulture saying about the lines while you were acting?
Two things, and I'll be very honest. The two things are, you are not acting the way that, like when I rehearsed these lines very quickly, I did it in a certain way. And then hearing that you want it to be natural or whatever, I had to do it the other way. And I'm like, I was fighting back and forth with which way I should be doing it, the way I had read it originally, or be more free flowing.
Okay, well, I don't know if that's a vulture squawk. What I would just say is this. In terms of pre-planning line readings, I'm only going to tell you what I do. I will pre-plan line readings in a sitcom, because in a sitcom, you can really muscle the shit out of a scene, especially if you're a guest star. But for a filmed half-hour comedy, I don't pre-plan any line reading, because a filmed half-hour comedy needs to be more spontaneous. In other words, more like real life. It needs to look more like real life, feel more like real life. And so I don't pre-plan line readings, because then I'm just going to do what you did, which is wonder during the scene whether I should do them or not. But again, you can pre-plan line readings in a filmed half-hour comedy, but to me, I want my filmed half-hour comedy to be more spontaneous than that. And you can't muscle it as much as you can a sitcom. And my pre-planned line readings are going to just end up being kind of muscled, in my opinion of myself. But did that answer your question?
Yeah, this is all very new to me.
I know. And then anything else your vulture was saying? Did you say your vulture was saying something about lines? I thought you mentioned something about line anxiety, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
what did your vulture say about lines?
Being better prepared.
Okay, so your vulture is lying to you because you can't be better prepared. So why would it squawk while you're acting about how you should be better prepared? It's doing that so that it can ruin your performance. So if you feel like you should have been better prepared, you just say, look, I was meant to be this prepared because there's a higher plan unfolding for me, and I forgive myself unconditionally. I'm a good person. Good people make mistakes. And so if I, by mistake, didn't memorize as much as I could have, I forgive myself. I'm a good person. So fuck it, But I also... Oh, and also, Neil, before we continue anymore, I want to tell you that was a fucking great audition. I have a note for you for the second half, but you don't act very often. And holy fuck, man, that was fucking great. Great scene comprehension, wonderful audition. And then it's just that in the second half of the scene, I have a note for you because it was starting to turn into a sitcom audition, whereas the whole first half of the scene, you were doing a terrific filmed half-hour audition. But I want to show you something because have you seen where I show what it looks like when an actor forgets their lines? Okay, so this is going to change everybody. If you've never seen me do this, this changes everyone's acting. It's an incredible thing to realize. So here's what actors do when they forget a line. I'm going to make up 2 lines and pretend I forgot the second line. So here's what actors do. They go like this. They go, I can't leave my wife. She needs me and so do the kids. Well, if instead of panicking and looking down, if the actor just stays up and tries to remember the line, it looks like this. I can't leave my wife. She needs me and so do the kids. Now that moment when I was going, what the fuck is this line? Looks like I'm thinking, and you have to have those moments. You won't book work without those moments, but we get rid of those moments because we think in a moment of silence they can read our mind and know that we're a sham and that we blew it. But as I said earlier, the moment you forget your line is the best moment of the audition, because what could be more real than a human standing in front of another human thinking of what to say, because every scene we're ever going to do is a scene about someone who doesn't know what they're going to say. But we turn every scene into a scene about someone who knows everything they're going to say and wonder why we didn't book the job. So you should hope you forget your line. And here's why you can stay up and take all the time you want to remember your line. It's because when you're acting and your heart's racing, time speeds up. So what feels like 5 seconds of dead air is really like 1 second. Okay? Now, here's my note for you. What a joy. That was so funny because of all the things you allowed to happen. I mean, that was really a great example of knocking down the walls that you feel constrict you and seeing it as a big playing field where anything can happen. In other words, there wasn't a moment of the scene where you weren't just sort of behaving as if it's really happening. So all this shit happened that I know if you watched it back, you'd be like, I don't remember doing that. I don't remember doing that with my face. You know what I mean? And that's the goal. And I just love how you just kept inviting the universe to send you gifts. But anyway, when you see a chunk of dialogue, you always want to remind yourself to throw away the words, to let them, to just tumble through them, hoping something bigger than you stops them. You know, for instance, forgetting a line is a great reason to get stopped. Or maybe the universe will send you an interesting thought or idea that makes you think for a second, you know? But you really slowed that paragraph down because you got what I call paragraph panic. Because you were worried you wouldn't remember the lines, and it made you like just sort of slow it down and deliver it. You really deliver those lines. And in real life, we don't deliver words. They tumble out of our mouth. Like, for instance, I have no idea how I've said anything today. I have interesting thoughts and feelings, and then all these words spill out of my face. Now, because we're doing it again, and I'm going to pretend I'm the director, I'll just say, you know what? Oh, by the way, did you pre-plan? We're curious when you went tranquilize. I know. Did you pre-plan that? I'm just curious.
The tranquilize.
The moment where you went back and went, I know, don't be scared of the word tranquilize. That's not in the script. Did you plan that or receive that?
I think, well, I was saying that and I got your face and I was like,
okay, good. So again, for the people watching, this is what I mean by letting shit happen. That because that moment is what books work. Meaning, when something surprises you in an audition, you can't fucking fake that. And it's what they need on set because they know they need someone who every take is going to allow new funny shit to happen so that they can put together your performance, because you don't create your performance in a show. The editor does. And if you go into an audition room and they feel that the water you're swimming in is, here's my idea of how to do the scene. In other words, this is what you're going to get every take. They don't want that on set nearly as much as what they want. They want to feel the actor swimming in water of, I'm just seeing what happens. I'm giving the camera all these gifts so that you can put it together later. And that moment was fucking hysterical. But anyway, I would like you this time, because we've already seen that, put in your belly in this paragraph that you don't think there's anything weird about it. Only because we haven't seen that.
all right.
That to you, this is what the stars do. They're all doing it. But other than that, I don't want to change anything in terms of circumstances. And actors, when the casting person says, do it again, and I'll usually go, well, do you have any changes or notes? And they say no, then it's very important that as an actors, we say, okay, they saw it that way. Now I'm going to let go of that and just want it to come out differently. I'm not going to control it to come out differently, but because the circumstances aren't different, it won't look wildly different, but I'm just going to let it come out in a new way based on the same circumstances. Because, you know, because you want to show them you're somebody who's going to allow new things to come. But don't you feel any responsibility to make it look different. You just go, okay, well, they saw it that way. It's the 9th take. The director says, I have it the way I want it. So I guess you don't have to do any of that brilliant stuff you did. I guess just behave as if it's really happening. Just want to surprise yourself. Oh, take all the time you want and you have permission to do it badly. Hey, Neil, release and destroy your need to be funny. You're just here to tickle yourself with your own genuine human behavior when you're an agent who's so full of shit and probably is wearing an expensive suit and is blowing smoke and then is trying to get some big money for this watch brand. But there's no right way to do it. The scene will constantly change. Who gives a shit? Fuck it. Here we go.
Hey, Ryan, incredible stuff. Congratulations. I mean, this could win you an award.
Oh, thanks, Jim.
Brilliant. Just brilliant work. I mean, freaking goddamn, Ryan.
Okay, calm down.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just get fucking worked up, you know? It's like, you know.
Okay, well, anything else, Jim?
Yes. What do you think of this watch? It's fucking sweet, right?
I don't know. It's not really my style.
What if I said you could get $2 million for 1 day of work?
No, come on. I told you before. I'm not doing that advertising bullshit.
Oh, come on. Tom Cruise is doing it all the time.
Follow that instinct. Lean back in the chair. Keep going.
Tom Cruise does it all the time. And these ads really only air in Japan.
Lean back in the chair. Well, no, to me, that feels like a sellout.
Are you kidding? This is easy money.
Wow. Okay, look, I don't know. It just, to me, That brand of watch is awful. It's not even anything I'd ever wear.
Jason, hold my calls. All right. Listen. We have this service where folks, you don't have to do anything. Folks will come into your home, tranquilize you, knock you out, transport you to the photo shoot. They'll pose you, set you up, put the product in hand. You're out. Don't even know about it. They'll bring you back home, put you in your bed. When you wake up, $2 million richer.
That's a thing?
Absolutely. Actors are doing this all the time.
And it's only for foreign markets.
Yes. But you know I wouldn't fuck with you.
Okay, good. Neil, what's your experience of that?
That one was a little bit more assholey. I could feel
Well, look,
the
I don't the scene is supposed to be, the thoughts are supposed to be different every time. The feelings, they're all supposed to be kind of different every time.
Mhm.
And so if an actor says that one was more assholey, I go, okay. I mean, it's like, that's the goal, is to be surprised by new images, thoughts, and concepts that create feelings. And feeling like an asshole is not a bad thing. It certainly fits into, it aligns with the circumstances of being this kind of agent. But when I say, and was there anything your vulture was squawking about? Because if your vulture's squawking now, it's going to squawk the same thing next time you act. That's why it's important to go through what it's saying, so I can tell you what to say back to it next time it says it.
I was far less cognizant of it in that run.
Great. Well, here's what I want to share. Neil, I've known you a while. Didn't know you wanted that. You are so fucking funny. You got to be making content all the time, man. You are so fucking funny. What a wonderful example of putting in a comedy, of putting the improv as the most important thing. Because I could tell you were like, hey, casting person, I understand what you've written, the situation, and I'm going to swim in that. And I loved all the new things you allowed to happen. And if you were putting together a performance, you'd just take the first half of the first one and the second half of the second, and you'd have like I was just over the moon about those, and it's never about reaching some perfect, we're not here to show them, here's the perfect rendition of the scene. We're here to play in the water and to show them we're somebody who allows things to surprise us. What else do I want to say? I love this moment when you go the second time, Jason, this behavior is so asshole-ish, agent, and it really tickled me. And it's just those little things that, and I kept telling you, hey, Neil, lean back, because actors, they tend to want to do their scene leaning forward. And when you're leaning forward, not as much can happen to you, but on top of that, it's not a powerful spot to be. So if you're an agent wearing a very expensive suit, there's so much of the scene you can do leaning back. Like, fuck, man, that was fucking great. And I know great because I cast Tom Cruise in his last movie. And, man, you're fucking great. You don't have to be leaning forward because it actually keeps things from happening because your body's folded in half. However, I love that you lean forward on this. And here's the deal. We have this service. And then what we do is we have these people come and they pick you up and they drop you off. You know what I mean? But I don't mind leaning forward, leaning back. But I always tell actors, I feel your home base should be leaning back and then feel free to lean forward at will. What else? There was a moment when I said that watch is shit, and you just looked at it. And I don't know if you were thinking, what's my next line? But I projected on you that you were looking at the watch going, why doesn't he like my watch? It's that feeling of play, of improvisation that is so joyful in you, and great work. So I don't have any notes, and you did a good job of throwing away the words and making it more of a filmed half-hour comedy the second time you did it.
That's awesome.
Okay, well, thank you. Great to see you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, everyone, great work. So many beautiful adjustments today. And again, if you're out there in YouTube world and you're curious about what I teach, you can read it all in my free ebook, which is here at this web address. Jesus, I can never there. And then also, if you want to be involved in this workshop, you can always write to me here at this email address to get a spot. I want to thank everyone again for donating to Black Lives Matter or to the bail fund of your choice. And I guess that's it. So what a pleasure, guys. Great work again. I was so blown away. Thank you, everyone. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Wear a mask. Bye.